Wouldn't it be nice to be able to wear different colored hats every day of the week? Well, now you can if you learn to crochet. And it'll save you a lot of money by not having to keep spending money and different beanies at the store. By the end of the tutorial, we will hopefully have learned to make a single crochet stitch, and you can continue to just keep practicing and to better yourself. The first thing we have to do is to gather all of our materials. For crocheting, we don't need that many materials. All you need is some yarn and crochet hooks. The size varies and it depends on what type of yarn you will be using for your project. If you use a thinner hook, then you will use a thinner yarn to go with it. The thinner yarn is mostly used for baby hats and different things like that. And if you use a thicker crochet hook, then you will use a thicker yarn. And the thicker yarns are used for baby blankets or even scarves to make them chunky. So for this project, we will be learning how to do a basic single crochet stitch. And the first thing you need to do is to leave a long tail. I like to leave a long tail because at the end of your project, you will need to weave in your ends to hide them. So what we do is we grab your yarn with one hand and then we grab the crochet hook with the other hand. So first thing is you need to make a slip knot, and a slip knot is something that will just hold your yarn in place on your needle. So how I like to do a slip knot is I like to wrap the yarn around my finger, and I like to hold the working yarn with these 3 fingers on my hand. And then I like to pull my hook through the yarn, and I like to pull up a stitch with the working yarn. After this, I pull both tails and I keep my finger on the working yarn so it doesn't get loose. And then I like to pull it tight, and you have officially made your slip knot. After this, we would just make a basic chain because most of the time when you crochet, unless it's for a hat, then you will be chaining. So for this tutorial, we will be chaining 10 stitches. And to make a chain, you will be wrapping your yarn around your hook around the yarn, and you will be pulling it through the little hole that you were from your slip knot, and you have made your first chain. And again, what you want to do is you want to wrap the hook around the yarn and then pull it through the loop. And again, wrap the yarn through the hook and then you pull it through. And you have, as of now, made 3 chains. So you will continue going until you reach this amount of chains that your pattern calls for. So you wrap the yarn and you pull it through. And you keep working in this way until you have reached the amount of chains that you need. So once you have finished your crochet chain, then you will be working in rows. To work in rows, you will need to go back through your chain and just keep working down until you reach the very first chain that you made. So to do a single crochet hook, you will skip the very last chain that you used, the one that is closest to your hook, and instead of using the one closest to your hook, you will use the one that is next to that one. So what you do is you stick your hook in through the little loop, and then you want to pull up a stitch. At this point in the single crochet stitch, you will have 2 loops on your hook. So what you want to do to complete the single crochet stitch is you want to grab another piece of working yarn and you want to pull it through both of the loops that are on your hook, and then that officially makes your first single crochet stitch. And then you will continue just working your way across the chain, making single crochet stitches all the way across until you have reached the very last of the chains or the very first one that you made, if that's what you want, how you want to see it. So remember, you want to pull through the loop, the hook, and then you want to pick up a chain, you want to pick up a yarn, a new piece of yarn, and you want to then pull through both loops on your hook. So you continue doing this until you reach the very end of the chain. And then you have officially done your first row. And this is called your first row. So this is your first row of single crochet stitches, because remember, this was your first chain down here. So after this, you want to just chain another one to complete that row, and then you want to turn your work, and then you will continue working back down the same um, row. So you will again single crochet all the way across until you reach the very end of it. You will continue this way until you have the desired length of rows that you want or need for your project. And this is one of the basic stitches that you can make because there are so many other stitches out there that you can do. And also you want to just keep working your way around. So once you finish that, then you will have your desired until you have your desired length. So what we have done here is just learned the basic stitch of one basic stitch of crochet. You first learned that you have to gather your materials, choose the right yarn for you and the right hook size for that yarn, and then you will have decided which one you wanted to use. The second step after that was that you will have to make a slip knot on your crochet hook, and then you will then make a chain as long as chain that you need for your project. After the chain is complete, you will either use the single crochet hook, a single crochet stitch, or any other stitch that the pattern calls for. So now that we have learned a basic stitch of crochet, I hope that you will continue to learn and to practice, and that you will just keep doing what you can to make your own beanie or your own scarf or whatever that you want to make. Thank you.